Well, good morning. Good morning. I was just practicing with our new intro. I hope you enjoyed it. It sounds kind of good, but I've got to think of something more exciting to have in the background. And I'm just going to immediately welcome my co-host today, Sylvia Somerville. Sylvia, could you hear that intro?
I did, and it was amazing.
Good. Now we just have to have a little something going on in the background.
Well, you'll figure that out. You're good at that.
All right. So good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Well, it's actually good afternoon. Happy Monday. And Sylvia, let's do a little weather report, because here in the West in Alberta today, it is +5 and beautiful and sunny. So what is it like in Niagara Falls, Ontario?
In Niagara Falls, Ontario, it's +1, but we are under severe wind warnings. The winds presently are gusting between 80 and 90, but they're telling us it can go to 100 or 120.
Whoa.
They said it's a dangerous storm. Be careful.
Oh, dear. And what's the temperature?
The temperature right now, last I heard, it was +1.
Oh, yeah, +1. Okay, you said that already.
Hence the winds, right? Because they're going to bring in snow tomorrow or something, you know.
Right off the Great Lakes, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, today we have a special guest joining us in a few minutes, and I want to talk a little bit about him. His name is Fraser Newcombe. I'm hoping that he'll be here. I have to phone him, though. We'll be doing a phone interview with Fraser. So hopefully that works out. And we're all good. So I'll have to be distracted to my phone to make that happen in a little bit. And this is the third day in a row I've seen you. Why don't we tell our audience what we're up to? We're up to no good, you and I. I was with you online Saturday, online Sunday, and now it's Monday, and I'm going like, am I online with you every day now? So what's the deal? So why don't you tell them what we're up to?
The deal is Dr. Laurie Davis has written an amazing book. Just waiting to see it. And what we're doing is, I'm her publisher. So, of course, we're getting together, checking it out, making sure everything's in order, getting it ready for the press, which will be in a few days. And very shortly, you're going to see that book on the market. And I'm telling you, you best grab one because they're going to go fast. And they are absolutely spectacular. Self-help.
Right. An inexpensive way to become your own best therapist and your own best friend.
For sure.
And your own best counselor. Really. Yes. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Fraser and see what happens. So in the meantime, what are you up to in your publishing? Because you're writing books too right now. So why don't you talk about that while I attempt to get a hold of Fraser here?
Well, thank you, Laurie. I am in the process of also finishing my latest children's book called Simon Lyon's Raindrop Friends. And I also have a historical book about life. It's called Life is a Jigsaw Puzzle. And it will take you through the life of a family that begins with a blizzard, and he serves overseas. It's just a remarkable book of telling about life in general and how life sends us in all different directions, and we find our way, we put all the pieces together, and we have a beautiful puzzle. So, and I also have another children's book coming out, and in the Raindrop story, the children are going to learn about the history of the Bruce Trail here in the Niagara region. The Bruce Trail is actually one of 13 bioscopic reserves, in Canada. And there are a lot of animals that are just in that area, and a lot of them are becoming extinct. And there were rumors over the years that someone saw Bigfoot on the Bruce Trail. So, of course, you're going to see pictures of Bigfoot. Anyway, that's what I've been up to besides getting Laurie's book up and published. And I love to write. And I also have a book of poetry coming up probably in the next month. And it is called Sunshine and Storms, because that's what life is. You know, we have storms in our life, and we have sunshine, and the point of the verses just lead you to understand and believe that no matter how dark it gets, no matter how low you get, it will get better. You just have to make your way through it. And you're back.
She was doing a little blurb on the book for us. So good morning. I have our special guest, Fraser Newcombe, on the phone on speaker. And Fraser, I'd like to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Sylvia Somerville. She's my co-host on Mondays, and she hails from Niagara Falls. So I know she'll welcome you right now. So I'm just going to stand the phone up here so everyone can hear you, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, Sylvia, this is Fraser Newcombe on the phone here.
Welcome to our show, Fraser Newcombe. And I hear you're a spectacular entertainer, long history, and I can't wait to hear about it.
Well, there you go. I don't know about all that stuff now, but anyway. Looks nice to meet you to start with, and we'll be talking to you probably on the road. And you're doing a publisher for her book, which I'm going to purchase a copy of.
Mm-hmm.
Spread the word around about it. See if I can get it out there. To support being an ex-Nova Scotian. You see, you got to help one another.
That's right. That's right. Fraser hails from Murphy's Cove in Nova Scotia. And of course, as our viewers know, I was born and raised in Nova Scotia. So he and I made a connection right away, and we've been communicating ever since. And I wanted to have him back on the show because he's getting ready right now as we speak to pack his bags for an upcoming event. So Fraser, I'm going to turn it over to you to fill our audience up with information about what you're up to.
Well, we're heading out to BC for the Invictus Games. We're doing a couple of shows leading up to the Invictus Games. And I think you all know what the Invictus Games are. And so that, and we've started it off on Friday night. I'll be playing at the New West Legion in BC, of course, New Westminster, and Branch 2. And then on Friday night, Saturday night, I'll be playing the Ladner Legion, which is in the same area. And then Sunday is the Invictus Games. That's when we're playing for the Royal. We're playing there the big show at the White Rock Legion for the Invictus Games. It's a lead-up show for all that. And that's all looked after. It's going to be all televised, and it's on the Disability Channel and the Hive Music, the Hive TV. And Prince Harry, he's ahead of it. And it's a major event. There's going to be some other entertainers there, of course, and the Mighty One and all that stuff. There's how many different ones? I think there's 6 or 7, something like that. I'm not sure. I had the poster here, but I lost it somehow with all the names on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be. So I'm flying out on Thursday. I'll be there on Thursday around noon. Something like that, and we'll be going for there. So it's the Vet Stop fundraiser is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fundraiser for veterans and the disabled, and that takes place on Sunday, February the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Mighty One is a band: Brian Zerlo, Tarakai, Fraser Newcombe, Ram Wine, Special Agent Sunshine, Shailene Stainer, and Eula. They're all renowned bands. The Mighty One, that she's known very well all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sponsored by a lot of people. The Royal Bank, Project Die Hard, veterans, Long and McQuaid, and Veterans Affairs, and all that. But it's a lot of sponsors involved in it. It's a big event, put it that way, and it's going to be televised, so you can sit down and you Google it up and you can watch it. I don't have the link right here, but you can watch it from your own home.
Well, that's beautiful. And what an honor, hey, Newcombe, Fraser, to be Fraser Newcombe. See, I called you Newcombe first. What an honor to be a part of that, hey?
Yeah, it is. It's quite an honor, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a bit nervous.
You don't need to be nervous. You're the senior. You're the pro. You're the expert. These guys will have a lot of years to put in before they can catch up to you. So you just walk in there like you own the joint.
Oh no, you can't do that.
Now listen, in one of your photos, what do you think of that, Sylvia? Isn't that amazing to have one of our Canadians out there?
I think that is really spectacular, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thank you very much for that comment. So
You're very welcome.
Now,
we're representing Nova Scotia anyway.
Well,
East Coast.
Yes, where a lot of great musicians have come from. So, we're famous for our music, and you can be there representing all the people that, Anne Murray, Rita McNeil, the Rankins, Hank Snow, Wilf Carter, Stomping Tom, all these people who made a name for themselves came from the East Coast, Fraser.
Yeah, 90% of them, yeah.
Right. They sure did.
Yeah.
So listen, in one of your photographs, I have a question for you. I've never asked you this before. So one of the questions, I noticed your jacket and your suit, and it kind of reminded me of Hank Williams, original Hank Williams. So do you have someone who makes your outfits for you?
Well, I'll tell you who looks after my outfits, and mostly she designs them and all like that is my wife.
Okay.
So one that does all that stuff, and she got that one for me a long time ago when I first started in this music business. So she made that one, she designed it, she picked it up, and I brought it home. It was a surprise, and she fit to a T. So I wore it, and that became my signature outfit. So
well, it's black and it's got red and beads and sequins, and it's just really spectacular. You taking that with you in your suitcase?
As a matter of fact, I am. I'll be wearing that out there.
I hope so. So.
I'll be wearing that outfit out there. I wasn't going to it. My wife said, "You better take that. That's what you should be taking." So guess what? I got to do what I'm told.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. So. Some people, though, Fraser, don't know what the Invictus Games are. And, a lot of people don't even know what it is. So do you want to share what you know about it, and I'll share what I know?
Well, it was originated by Prince Harry. This is my understanding. By Prince Harry a few years ago. And it started out in England, of course. And then it went to the United States. And now it's the first time in Canada that's hit in BC. It's in Whistler, BC. It should be, and it entails all disabled people that play hockey, and they play the veterans. It's for veterans and disabled is what it's for.
Right.
It's disability, I should say, and that's what it's all about. And it's becoming a very big event. Millions of dollars have been donated by the royal family. It's been started by the royal family. Prince Harry started it. Yeah. And they're all involved in it. And that's how it came about. Now, you can go online and Google it up, and you can read all about it, I think. And find out exactly what it's all about and all like that. But to my understanding, it's a big thing, and it's getting bigger all the time. Big event.
Well, I know this upcoming one, there'll be 500 people participating in the different sporting events.
Well,
so it's kind of like the Olympics for
Yeah.
our disabled veterans, right? Disability community and veterans.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
So it is amazing.
Introducing Veteran House Alliance International Monthly 50/50 Raffle. Purchase your ticket today, link on display, and have a chance to win cash and help a great platform supporting veterans.
And it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're all about. We're raising funds for it,
Right.
towards it and all that.
Right. So why don't you share with our audience a little bit about your genre, the music that you do perform? What do you love? What do you love to do?
I perform. I like to play on stage. I like the audiences, and I gauge my music. I write a lot of my own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I do tributes to Stomping Tom Connors and Hank Snow.
Oh, cool.
And as a matter of fact, I just finished a tribute to Stomping Tom, and that's going over quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of his music, and he was quite an entertainer.
Yes, he was.
And another one of my favorites is Boxcar Willie, which a lot of people have forgotten about.
Oh, yeah.
And but I do a lot of Boxcar Willie stuff too. I dress like Boxcar Willie and all that.
Oh, cool.
So I do a lot of that kind of stuff just to entertain the audience. I try to feel them out, see what they like first. But I have different genres. I do Newfoundland music, rock and roll. I can do folk. I can do country, whatever.
Right.
I do a lot of. I've written a song for just whatever genre. I've written Christmas songs. I've written religious songs, country songs, folk songs. So I've written quite a few different genres of music,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I like to do, and I like about the real thing. I normally write about the true stuff, whatever goes on.
Yeah, well, you told me that once. You told me that if there's a particular person with a situation going on, you can sit down and write a song for them.
Well, I'll tell you a story if you want to hear it.
Absolutely.
This guy over here used to live next door to us, not too far away. His name is Kenny Arnold. And he had no legs. Now, this is a true story. And this gentleman could build a house. Don't ask me how he could get up on that roof, but he could climb up a ladder to do that. He built his own studio. So I wrote a song about it. Excuse me. And I went to an exhibition, a 4-hour drive from where we lived. And I sang the song I wrote about him at the exhibition. There was a guy came up to me. He said, "Is that Kenny Arnold? I knew him. I boarded with him years ago. Where can I find him?" So I got them two together after many years apart through that song. I couldn't believe it. The guy came here to my house and picked up a CD and all that stuff.
Wow.
And that is, so it united those two people after many, many years apart. They had a long session together and very, very well. And anyway, they really enjoyed each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
And they thanked me for bringing them together again. So,
wow.
So that's one story of my music. One thing it did anyway.
Right. Well.
And the story, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Now, in the story of the song I wrote about Hank Snow, it's called Hank Snow and the Battery Radio. Well, that is in the museum down here in Liverpool, where Hank Snow was born. There's a big museum down there, the hometown museum of Hank Snow. Thousands of people come there every year for the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And I play in that all the time. So that song is in the museum down there, and I donated a gold record to it. That turned gold, actually it turned platinum, and so I donated a gold record. It's down in the museum down there for that song.
Wow. Wow. Well, my co-host here, Sylvia Somerville from Niagara Falls, is a writer. And I know I can tell by the expression on her face, she's connecting as you're talking about telling stories by song. You tell your stories by song. She tells her stories in print She has 32 books under her belt. So, that's why she's my publisher.
Oh, shit. Well,
Yeah. So this is someone whose dad, and both of our dads were World War II veterans.
Yeah.
So veterans are very close to our heart. So maybe Sylvia, how about you share a little story about your dad, how he served, and we'll send that blessing along with Fraser as he's going to the Invictus Games. Over to you, Sylvia.
Well, sure. Thank you, Laurie. My dad was with the Lincoln and Welland Regiment. He was actually the initial member when it was first formed, when the Lincoln and Welland Regiment first formed, and he worked with Special Forces. Now, I was very young when he was at war. Obviously, I was born while he was overseas. But as I got older and he told me the stories, one in particular, when he had been severely injured, he said they had been working their way towards the front lines to get, reorganized again with his troop. And there were 4 of them. They came out of these trenches up in the hills looking down on a village. Now, I don't recall the country, so I don't use the name of the country because I can't remember it. But as they made their way down the slope into the village, at this one point, they said they saw a lady come running out of a building carrying a little child. And of course, the soldiers chased her, shot her down. She fell. The little child fell out of her arms, and the soldiers shot the child. And then he said that what really grabbed his heart, he said men and young boys were running out of wherever, behind buildings, and all they had was hunting rifles and rocks, and they're throwing them at people with machine guns. And he said it was just, it was terrible, he said, to watch all those people die. And he doesn't remember much after that because they were running back into shelter or something, and he said he heard a voice calling out, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." So he ran to the voice and picked up another soldier, Canadian soldier that was injured. And before they got to the safety of the trenches, he said he'd been shot several times. And he just remembered dropping into the trench and somebody dropping the fellow into the trench and someone pulling him into the trench. He knew nothing else till he woke up, and he said to me, it was strange. He said this man he didn't know was asking him his name, but he didn't know his name because he had a lot of shrapnel in his head. He died at age 45 from the shrapnel because they couldn't get it all out.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a song.
Yeah.
Right? You know what? I wanted Sylvia to tell a story because I know while she's telling the story, Fraser is thinking about a song.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a couple of patriotic songs. So
Yes, I bet you have.
I'll be doing one of them down there. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I debuted the song I wrote about my tribute to veterans. I debuted that on the Utah Beach Friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So get my picture taken with the Mayor of France and all that stuff. So
wow.
We did a Rise Up TV tour over there.
Oh wow.
We played Scotland and Ireland and England, France. We played all over.
Wow.
That was a Rise Up TV tour.
Right. Rise
and
Up
that was
TV.
fun. That was fun. That's my first job there. So.
Mm-hmm. Sylvia, do you have any questions? I think Sylvia wants to talk to you here. Fraser,
sure. Yeah.
I was going to say that what would we do without music and books and, telling of tales, however we do it, it records our history. You put yours, right, you put all everyday happenings, sad things, happy things into music, and music connects us. And it's the same with stories in a book. Like we wouldn't have a history without people like yourself and me and Laurie, who are recording the events, but we do it in stories, so people will read it and they will listen to it. And I think it's just marvelous.
Well, it's a way. Well, there's no better way to relieve stress, in my opinion, than to sit down and write about it or play music. You know, like when I work all day and then I get some troubles or something, I pick up my guitar and it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that it's the greatest stress reliever that ever was, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway,
Yes,
you know, in music and song and stuff like that.
definitely. Well, you're really going to enjoy the book because you're going to be able to go in that book and probably at the end of it, you'll have written another 20 songs. Okay.
Well,
That'll keep you busy because as you're going to be doing your own journey in the book, Fraser, and I really appreciate you getting one. As you're doing your own personal journey in that book, it's going to trigger lots of other people and ideas for you because you're so creative. And we left lots of space for people to write and color, and you know, it's a working journal is what it is. So yeah,
I'm getting excited to see that.
Yeah. And it's been sitting on my shelf for 20 years in you know, manuscript form, not in book form, but I used to deliver the workshop all the time. I mean, I've had people, we can't make medical claims, but I've had people come off antidepressants after they finished it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I know. So I can't wait for the song 21 Days to Happiness, Joy, and Inner Peace, written by Fraser Newcombe.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love collaborating, right, with other creative people, right?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'm going to read it, and if there's something there, I'll definitely do something with it.
I know you will. So how long are you going to be out west? How long are you going to be?
Well, we leave on, I get there on Thursday. I'll take it in, and I come back the next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I'm not there for a long time. But I come back, I'm doing a tour of Ontario after I go back. In May, we're getting geared up for a big tour of Ontario.
Are you?
Yes.
In May? When?
May.
Oh, wow. Whereabouts? Have you got your locations?
Oh, we'll be in Windsor and Sault Ste. Marie and God knows where all. We're going to be there for 3 weeks anyway. So
oh, wow.
Probably Niagara Falls.
Sylvia.
I wonder if I have tickets to see you in Niagara Falls. We were told you're going to be doing Gordon Lightfoot music at Betty's Restaurant. At Betty's Restaurant in Niagara Falls in May.
Yeah, I'll be doing Niagara Falls. Yeah, a little bit of Stomping Tom. I'll be doing it's actually Stomping Tom Revisited show. But I'll be doing, but I'll be mixing other people in with it, like Boxcar Willie, Hank Snow, myself.
The Disability Channel would like to thank our existing sponsors. We really appreciate the support and kindness from the BIAs across the GTA, Ontario, Canada, and our friends in the USA. We love making new friends. Thank you for supporting our existing employment programs.
Nice.
Because I have to make a trip to Ontario. That might be a good time to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go. We could have like a reunion. We could get a hold of our friend Doug Smith, a former NHLer who co-hosts the show with me. He's in Ottawa. We could spread the word. You know, we've got people.
Well, as soon as I get my itinerary all down pat, where I'm going exactly and where I'm playing and everything, I'm going to send it to you.
Yes.
And we can go from there. And then I'll know exactly the times and the dates and where I'm going to be.
Perfect. We'll promote it because we can.
Apparently you're doing, I think it's 3 or 4 shows in Niagara Falls, and the one I'm booked in to see was because they had so many requests for tickets. They had to give you an extra day.
Wow. That's awesome.
Well, we're going to get you involved for sure, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. And she knows everybody. She was born and
Well,
raised
that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
born and raised in Niagara Falls and knows
Well,
everybody that you need to know.
well, to see the more seats we can fill, the better it'll be.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, we need to put that out there.
Well, let's start getting that out there. I'm coming.
Yeah, you're going there. That's cool. Yeah. And we just
Stomping Tom Revisited show.
now. Do you actually have a piece of plywood that you stomp on?
Of course.
Oh, of course you do. Of course.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, that'll be fun. That'll probably be the best approach for us to get together. That'll be great.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I did talk to Fraser about bringing him to Alberta because this is redneck country out here, and people love country music, all different kinds of country music. I mean, this is a haven here for you too.
So when's a good time for Alberta?
Well, I was thinking like September.
Oh, perfect timing.
Because the weather's still good,
Yeah.
and it's nice, and all we'd have to do is book a space. I know where to take us, and there's lots of locations you could go to in Alberta, but let's start with Drayton Valley.
All right. I'm marking that down as we speak.
Yeah, okay, I mean it.
Then I'll have to fly out to.
Then you'll have to fly out, yes, to be here,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, no problem there.
Yeah, and well, we'll work on that.
All right, good work on it. Let me know what the scoop is. I'm game. I'll keep September open.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be in touch when you get back from the Invictus Games, and we'll all be watching. So I want to thank you for your time today. Unless there's anything else you'd like to share.
No, I'm good for now. I guess that's enough. Enough for a day.
Okay, Fraser. Thank you so much for coming in and talking with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
We made some inroads here today.
Yes. Safe travels.
Looking forward to your one.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Now there's a go-getter. Huh?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And every story that you've got, he could write a song about it.
Oh, I know, isn't it? That's what I find amazing about country western music.
Right. Well, it's storytelling.
It is storytelling. It's not like some of that. People may not like me saying so, but it's a fact. Some of that hard rock, all they're doing is screaming. You don't know what they're saying. It doesn't make sense. It's just noise.
Yeah, there's no ballad to it,
No, I like a song where it tells you a story.
Yes.
Instead of just screaming and shouting and jumping around and gyrating and come on.
Come on now. Elvis gyrated. Everybody thought that was really sinful. And remember how he was rejected as a musician when he first started? They were all wondering, what is he doing? And certain people were not allowed to go and see him because of that.
Right. But at least his music has a song as well. A story.
Yeah.
He wasn't just noise. He told a story in his songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And gyrating was just to get their attention, I guess.
Oh, it did. All those girls screaming and hollering in the audience, right?
Yeah.
Kathy said she and her brother love country music, so we'll see where he's coming close to you. He's going to send me his itinerary. We've just been finishing a chat with Fraser Newcombe from Murphy's Cove, Nova Scotia, musician, artist, singer, songwriter, fancy dresser. Wait till you see his jacket.
Cool.
And yes, I know if you could have seen him, it would have been easier. But you know what? Wasn't possible. So we just go with what we can do, right? And we're looking forward to meeting him in person. And maybe we should plan that trip in May, Sylvia, to come to Ontario, because we have to come out. We have people we need to see.
By all means, my door is always
people we want to spend time with, right? And then you can fly back out in September. It'd be an excuse.
There you go.
Who needs an excuse? We don't need an excuse.
Who needs an excuse?
I don't.
Just need a getaway.
Exactly.
When Kathy said brotherly love, is that the same group with Jimmy Fortune?
No, she said her brother, and she said my brother and I love country music. Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
Jimmy Fortune, and they're either called Brotherly Love or Brothers of the Heart. I'm not sure which way it goes.
Oh, yes.
I love their music.
Mhm. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got quite a few people watching today, so it would be nice to have some comments up here so we could maybe have some conversation. Today we were talking with Fraser Newcombe, and we were talking about our book, and we were talking about just having a fun life, getting things done. And by the way, Fraser is a sexy senior just like you and I. And I forgot about his wife. I apologize for that. And she's his right arm, it sounds like. And you know what? Behind every successful person is a partner,
Absolutely.
helping you. We've both had that. We know what that's like, right?
Supporting you.
That's right. And making it happen, making things happen.
And
Let's talk about your first trip to Africa and who gave you the ticket. I think Ray was trying to get rid of you, actually. I don't think he really wanted you to go to Africa, but over to you. That's a great story. And if Fraser hears that story, he'll probably write a song about it because it's a love story.
Absolutely. My friend who lives in Cape Town, she had called and invited me over to Cape Town, South Africa. And I said, yeah, we'd love to come. And I talked to Ray about it, my husband, and he said, unfortunately, because of his health issues, he didn't want to fly or be in another country. So I had said, fine, I'm not going. So I called her back and said I wasn't coming. Because at that point I was, I don't know, 30 something, 32, 34, whatever. I had never been in an airport. Never mind get on a plane and fly to the other side of the world. Come on. Like, that's not going to happen. So I said to him, I said, no, I called her and said, it's not happening. So on my birthday, which was a few months later, he gives me this big envelope. And I thought, what's in there? Here he's been talking with my friend in Africa. They set up the time. In the package was my ticket, my traveler's checks, itinerary, everything was there. And I says, what's in there? And he said, you leave in 3 weeks. Get ready.
Whoa.
So
How
yeah,
beautiful is that?
that was amazing. And I told you the funny story about when I arrived I flew from Toronto to London Heathrow, and then from Heathrow into Johannesburg. Well, in Johannesburg, I had to change. That was their immigration or whatever, customs.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to fly to Cape Town yet. But you take your baggage off and get checked. Now, I'd never heard a South African accent. So I have my bag up, they have it opened, and the customs officer says to me, this is what I heard.
With your hearing impaired ear.
Yes, I'm deaf in one ear, and I do have hearing impairment. So I thought he said, do you have any boobs? Well, I just kind of stood there looking at him. I'm thinking, you know what? And he repeated it. And then he said, if you have boobs, I must see them. Well, now, I mean, the water's just pouring off me like I stepped out of a shower, and I don't know what to do. I've never traveled. And the other immigration officer comes over, customs, and he says, if you have boobs, I must see them. Penthouse, Playboy. And I thought, he's saying books.
Oh. He wanted to know if you had any Hustler magazines that were contraband, probably.
Absolutely. They were contraband at that time. That was back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, what? I had quite a few incidents because I didn't understand the language, the accent.
Yes.
But it was great fun. We went in all the different villages. Joyce had it set up so that she had cousins and family that owned different conservation areas. So I would go with her to the conservation areas. And back in the 70s, you did walking safaris. It's not like today. Now it's all game drives. I guess people don't follow the rules today. I'm one of them. And at one point, we were in this tall elephant grass, and it sounded like a train coming towards us, and we're in no man's land. So the ranger, there's 4 of them, and one guy shimmied up a tree, and he yells down to us. He said, "Climb a tree." Well, me and the 4 of us just stood there looking at each other. The highest branch is like 5 feet above us. We're thinking, "You got a prayer there." Whatever happened, we wouldn't have got up a tree.
No.
But it didn't matter, because then he said, "Oh, it's going the other way." It was a rhino running through the bush.
Wow.
Or running through the tall elephant grass.
Right.
Uh,
And how many trips to Africa did you make at the end of the day?
About 15, 16.
Yes.
I went every year from 77 until 90. And then my kids were in university, and money had to go in different places.
Right. Right.
And I was also working in Africa as a photojournalist. So a lot of the times I didn't pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
My expenses were paid. But then I went back. The last trip was in 2017. I was over.
Mm-hmm.
And that was to spread some of my husband's ashes.
Mm-hmm.
He had left a letter for me after he died, and he said he always wished he could have gone with me to Africa. But he said when he sent me, I should have added that part. When he said, "You're leaving in 3 weeks," he said, "You're an author. One day you're going to be a famous author. You're going to have bestsellers. You have to travel. You have to see the world. You have to meet different cultures. You have to go places." He said, "This is trip number 1. Where you go."
Oh, wow.
We welcome you to advertise and promote your goods and services, and/or brand your logo to 34 million subscribers on Canada Talks 167. Your investment will go towards our employment programs in the media industry for persons with disabilities and veterans.
Like, how supportive is that?
Oh, he was.
You know how many women would have had to put up with, well, why do you want to go there? And how much is it going to cost us? And do you really think you need to do that? And I know men who whine at their wives if they're at Walmart. You know, I've overheard it. What do you need that for? What are you buying that dress for? So we're not talking about going to Africa. We're just talking about going to, a department store, right?
Right.
And they're whining and complaining. So, but we're going to write our next book about that. The
We
next
are.
one, number 2, coming up. 13
Well,
steps. 13 steps to a power couple.
Absolutely. Well, I have a book about Africa on the market called Dark Sun, Dry Rain.
Okay.
And that is a collection of short stories, and everything happened. It's all nonfiction.
Wow. Well, you have a lot of stories, and so do we all. We all have stories, but there are so many people who are not willing to share their stories because they're embarrassed, or they think they're ashamed of it, or they don't think anybody would be interested, or they don't think they've had an interesting life. We all have stories inside of us. Now, you and I are just willing to tell our stories. But I had this conversation last week at our gathering, our Monday night gathering, that if you're not prepared to share your stories because of shame or guilt or whatever, first you come see me, you get rid of all that. Okay? Because I'll help you get rid of all that. And then you tell your stories, because until you can you can't really connect with people if you're not willing to do that.
No.
So when I tell people I've been married 3 times, was there a time that I was embarrassed of that? Of course. Was I ashamed of it? Absolutely. But now when I say it, people who've had broken marriages or broken relationships go, "Oh, really? You mean I can get past this?" That's why one of our books, 10 Ways to Get Past a Breakup, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is.
No, and if you're not willing to share yourself with people, you can't really help people. And Sylvia, I've had so many people say to me, "Oh, I just really want to help others. I just really want to help people." No, you don't. You're just saying that because it sounds good.
Yep.
Because until you're really ready to get vulnerable and raw and share, you can't help anybody.
No.
What do you think about that? Am I on a little soapbox here?
No, that's absolutely right. And it's because you write the story and you are vulnerable. You lay it on the line. You are who you are, and you should always believe in you. This is me. Like I say, this is me, take it or leave it. That's my favorite expression. But when you're vulnerable, someone else who, like you said, is going through a divorce, has been through a divorce, or maybe they've done something that they're truly ashamed of, or they've lost a friend or a spouse, when you lay it on the line and you say, yes, you get depressed, yes, this, yes, that. Pardon me, I have an eye runny thing today. That makes them realize they're not going crazy. They're not different. Everybody's the same. We all get ticked off at things. We all have our good days and our bad days. And yes, when there's trauma in your life, you can get very depressed. I thought when my husband died, we'd been together 63 years, 58 before marriage, and then 58 years married and 3 or 4 years prior to marriage. And when I lost him, I thought my world ended. The first couple of weeks, I remember I'd sit in my recliner and just think I could go to sleep. I didn't want to wake up. I just thought I can go to sleep. I don't want to wake up anymore. But of course I woke up. But the thing is, we all go through those times, and then bit by bit, with the help of friends, and you come out of it. It took me a while, but I got there. And that's when your book would have been so helpful, because at that time I took your workshop, and it helped me realize that I had so much more to give. Stop feeling sorry because he's gone. And if he was probably looking down on me in heaven, wanting to give me a boot in the butt, saying, come on, get with it. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I tell people that I was in bed for pretty much a year after I lost my first husband, they can't even believe that I could even do something like that. Like, can you see me in bed for a year?
No.
Like, really? But it was. I didn't eat. I couldn't go anywhere. I was so distraught, and yeah. So we're living proof, and that's when I started to become vulnerable, though. That's when I realized I'd been living in a bubble. I hadn't really been honest with myself about how I feel. I hadn't shared a lot of my feelings over the years. I felt very in control. I wasn't in control at all. But when that happened, boy, did that wake me up and go, whoa, get out of your own way. Get over yourself. Yeah. Because I thought this is how life is, going to be. And then I thought, I'm 34 now. I have no husband. I've been married for 14 years. And I went, so what am I supposed to do? Be single the rest of my life? I wasn't interested in that.
No.
Do I ever want to go back to work? Yeah, I need to get back to work because money's running out. Yeah. So we know all about that.
We do. And along with him passing, I was depressed over the fact that he passed, but while he was sick, he was fighting cancer for 12 years. The government does not pay very much towards cancer treatments, and we had to go out of country because they had given him 6 months to live, but they told us of a clinic in the United States, and it would cost a fortune, of course. So, we made a decision, and this is something very important, I feel. We had to decide whether we wanted to sell our house, use all our money from the house, all our life saving, in the hopes of getting him more life, or did we want to keep the materialistic things? So we made the decision, sell the house, put the money into his treatment, which we did. And he got an extra 10 years out of that.
Really?
Right. And the government wouldn't pay anything because it was considered not just the fact it was in the United States, out of country, but it was also called experimental. And when they call it experimental, they don't
Fund it.
But and some friends of mine just say to me now that I'm on my own and everything, and they say, "Do you ever regret it?" I said, "Absolutely not. If I had to do it again, I'd do the very same thing." Because life and love is more important than anything material.
Absolutely. Our friends in California are finding that out right now, aren't they?
Absolutely.
There's a big lesson. And also, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, if your value is all tied up in what's outside of you, so if it's all tied up in your spouse, your sister, your parents, your house, your car, your money in the bank, and that all goes away, what's left? Well, you better have invested in this.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be left with, yourself.
And that's where your book is going to be it's going to be life-saving. People are going to, seriously, people are going to read it and realize they better start working on them. Where would I have been if I didn't believe in me? If I hadn't already had faith and confidence in myself? I mean, there I was with nothing.
Yeah.
The day of his funeral, I didn't have the money to bury him. I had to wait for the insurance. But point being, where would I have been if I had nothing inside of me? If I was all tied up in material things? That's why that your book is going to be it's so necessary. And in today, especially with everything, there's so much trauma and chaos in the world. You have to find that happy place within you.
Yeah. And it's not tied up in anything or anybody outside of you.
Just you.
I'm here as a living proof of that.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
And you better have it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I had a lot of people give up on me, but like you, I never gave up on me.
I never gave up on me.
I know there's people out there right now that have given up on themselves. And they've got family, they've got money in the bank, they've got a big house, they've got, relative, like whatever. Good luck with that. Because when the what hits the fan, you better have the stamina inside of you to deal with it. Because life hands us some pretty tough situations. And we're here to talk about it because we've survived it. Now, wouldn't people like to know how we did that? All right. Well, Sylvia, our time is up. We've had a fun show today with Fraser Newcombe from Murphy's Cove, Nova Scotia, packing his bags on his way to the Invictus Games. Big shout out to the Disability Channel for getting that all organized and together. And one of our other friends, Charlene, she was on the show. She's a country singer here from Alberta. She's going to be there. Those 500 veterans and disabled people participating in the Invictus Games. And shout out to all of the fundraising and people who are donating money. And that's why I am honored to be associated with the Disability Channel. I love this channel and I love it here. And whatever I've wanted to do with our show, whoever we wanted to talk to or interview, we have full support from our leader, Jay Stoyan. I'm going to put a big shout out to Jay right now. And thank you so much to the Disability Channel. Oh, and just one more little announcement. Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, Sylvia, I'm being interviewed.
Right.
By Dr. Laurie Michaels Harris. His show is 10 years old. He was just syndicated to some very large networks. And I'm on his show to talk about our book and the series of self-help books that we have coming up. And I can't wait. So makeup doesn't stick at 7 a.m. like it does the rest of the day. So I'll be piling it on. All right. We'll be back tomorrow with Dr. Ramin Modiri and talking business, finance. He always has something fun planned for us. So, Sylvia, thank you so much for your time and your energy for the show. You just bring a whole new lot of light and hope to others, too, through what you do in the world. So thank you for being my friend, and thank you for being my publisher. and we'll look forward to more work together. So bye for now, everybody. Anything you want to say, Sylvia? Closing remarks?
Just thank you for that glowing report. I am just me. I always say that. This is me.
This is you.
And I
This
want
is
everyone
you.
to say that. This is me.
This is me, and I'm okay with me.
Yep.
Other people may find me, I was told one time I was very overbearing. And I said, thank you, because I worked really hard to get there. I took it as a compliment. He thought he was insulting me. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.